there, Latin 2. Here we go. Chapter 28, the grammar now. And if you take a look at pages 4 and 5, you will see a chart on page 4. And there was a song about this called Qui Quai Quod. And I've also put it up on another video as well. And you can see all the uses of what are called the relative pronouns. So what is a relative pronoun? Because that's the lesson for the week. Well, a relative pronoun is qui quai quod, and then of course the plurals, which are qui quai quai. A relative pronoun has what's called an antecedent. So it's essentially, it means who or which, okay? And it has what's called an antecedent. Now the antecedent is the thing that the relative pronoun is referring to, okay? So I have a pen which is sitting on the table. The pen is the antecedent, which is talking about the pronoun. Okay? A relative pronoun will match its antecedent in number and gender. Notice what's missing. Because case is not determined by the antecedent. Case is determined by the relative pronoun's function in its own clause. And I'll give you an example, all right? So hopefully you can pause that and take notes. And if not, rewind it and pause it and take notes. So I'll give you an example. In Latin, here you go. Okay, the first one. Cornelia quam mater vocat in cubiculo dormit. So Cornelia, whom mother calls, sleeps in her room. So the subject of the sentence is Cornelia. She is feminine, she is singular, she is nominative because she's the subject. Any pronoun that refers back to Cornelia, Cornelia being its antecedent, must match it in number, in number and gender, not in case. If it matches in case, that's a happy accident. But quam, that is feminine and that is singular. So as you can see, I'm keeping the colors the same, and I have drawn an arrow from the pronoun to its antecedent. So Cornelia, whom mother calls, okay, so mother is the subject of this clause. Cornelia is the direct object of this clause, the quam. That's why it's accusative. Now it does match in number and gender, but its case is determined by what it's doing in this particular clause. So while Cornelia is our subject of the whole sentence, quam is our direct object for whom is getting called. So Cornelia, whom mother calls, sleeps in the room. So Cornelia sleeps in the room. Okay, and then the quam is referring back to Cornelia. Next one, omnes Corneliam vocant, cuius nomen per villam personant. Okay, everyone calls Cornelia, the name of whom echoes throughout the house. So Cornelia is the subject, or she's not the subject, she is the antecedent, sorry. Everyone is doing the calling, they are the subject. Who are they calling? They're calling Cornelia. And then you'll notice that this relative clause is tying its way back to Cornelia. They're calling Cornelia, the name of whom? Of whom? Who are we talking about? Oh, that's Cornelia. So the name of whom? Of Cornelia. Echoes throughout the house, right? So cuius has to match Corneliam in number and gender, but not in case. So cuius is singular, cuius is feminine, because it's referring back to a singular feminine. But it is not a direct object. It is a possessive. That's why we use the genitive. So the case that is being used there is determined by its function in that clause. So cuius nomen per villam personat, the name of whom is referring back to our antecedent, echoes throughout the house. I have a couple more examples, so hopefully it'll help make sense. Again, pause it, kind of rework it, see if that makes sense for you, because we'll be doing exercises on it as well. Very similar to how I'm doing it. So the bovi, cibum dabam qui sub arbore sedebat. I was giving food to a cow who was sitting under the tree. So bovi, okay, is an indirect object, right? I was giving food. What was I giving food to? A cow, all right, to a cow. I was giving food to a cow. Qui sub arbore sedebat is referring not to me, but to the cow who was sitting under the tree, okay? I guess it could refer to me, but I'm not in that sentence really other than in the verb. And technically that would work, but that doesn't make much sense. I, who was sitting under the tree, you know, it just, So I was giving food to a cow who was sitting under the tree. So qui matches the cow in number and gender. It is masculine and it is singular. It does not match it in terms of case, because in this clause, it's the subject of the clause. Over here, it's an indirect object. So they don't have to match in case, only number and gender. Now the next one. Pueros quibus matres soleas dederunt, Cornelia necabit. Cornelia will kill the boys to whom, and the rest of that should have been in red, I forgot to switch it over, to whom the mothers gave sandals, okay? So the boys are a direct object in that sentence, right? Because Cornelia will kill them. She will make them victims, quite literally, okay? Now the boys, what kind of boys? The boys to whom the mothers gave sandals. So to whom is an indirect object. So it does match. Your pronoun matches your antecedent in number and gender, but not in case. The case is determined by its function in this clause. So the boys to whom the mothers gave sandals, that would be dative. Cornelia will kill them, right? So Cornelia will kill the boys to whom the mothers gave sandals. That's how that works. I'm hoping that that makes sense and that that helps. I'm sorry that I forgot to go back to red for that last part. But I think by and large that should help you. Read page 4 and 5 to help kind of bolster that. Make sure you take good notes. And then what I want you to do is go ahead and do exercises 28B and 28C. So in 28B, it gives you quarum, and it tells you what line to find quarum on. My instructions are this: write down quarum, then write down its antecedent, and then write down quarum, then tell me its number, case, and gender, and then write down its antecedent. So you'd say quarum, feminine, plural, genitive, and then on line 1, quarum is right there. Then the antecedent of quarum is ancillae. And so you'd write quarum, feminine, plural, genitive, and then a little dash, and then write ancillae. And then in the next one, you'd write quae, and then da-da-da-da-da, okay? You have the chart right there on page 4. Then I want you to do 28C. Now, 28C is pretty straightforward. Sextus est puer strenuus qui saepe and agris in horto currit. Okay? What I want you to do is write down the Latin. Then I want you to underline qui, and I want you to draw an arrow from qui back to its antecedent. Once you've done that, I want you to write down next to the sentence the number, case, and gender of the pronoun. So you're going to write Sextus est puer strenuus qui saepe in agris et in horto currit. Underline qui, draw an arrow to Sextus, and then over here next to that you're going to write singular masculine nominative, because qui is singular masculine nominative. Then you're going to translate it. Sextus is an energetic boy who often runs in the fields and in the garden. So you can translate that underneath. So that's how I want you to do that. So you're probably going to need to skip a line between each. When you are done with that on paper, because I want you to do it on paper first, then I want you to type it into Google Docs, and I want you to email me that so I can give you the feedback that you need. Okay? So if we're not together, if we're doing this at a distance, that's pretty much the way that we're going to do it. So I want you to do 28B and 28C when you're done reading or watching this video. Okay? 28B and C. All right, I'm going to hit the button.